Hey there friends, thanks for checking in. This video has to do with 10 guns that every collector should own. I'm talking collector now, not combat operating type of firearms, although many could be used for that. But let's get to it and we'll see if you agree. A .22 long rifle is essential, and I don't think you could do much better than a Ruger 1022. I have a suppressor on here. This is called the carbon fiber model. It has a carbon fiber wrapped barrel, very lightweight with this synthetic stock. The platform that Ruger has had for so many years has been proven so reliable. Other companies purchase parts from Ruger to gain with that reliability. Easy on the wallet, lightweight, shoots great. How can you do any better than the Ruger 1022? And there are so many models, and for collector value, I say just get your favorite one. There are many 1911s I could feature. I don't have a Nighthawk Custom, I don't have a Dan Weston, I don't have a Wilson Combat. But what I have is a Rock River Arms Basic Limited. Now, I have never shown this before. I was waiting for an opportunity, and this is that time. This is high end. I have shot this next to people in 45 ACP who check it out and they say that thing stands out from the crowd, and it does. You have to try it. You can't just say my 1911 Rock Island Armory is as good as the Rock River Arms. It's not. You have to trust me on that. I know what I'm talking about. This is high end, and I'm happy to have it. Never displayed it before on video, but this Basic Limited has a high MSRP. It's $3,780. Hey, look, everybody has to decide where their value lies, but I think it is amazing. And if you ever see me at the range and I have this, ask to shoot it. I'll be happy to let you. The sport rifle I'm going with is an AKM. It's a Wasser 10 with Midwest Industries parts called the Alpha Series. You can see the handguard there, the cover with a rail, and a folding stock that is aluminum. I've got a 3-time magnifier on there with a Meridian MDS 35 green dot. And I'm working on a suppressor for this. It's going to live on the rifle. I hope to show that to you very soon. In my estimation, you have to go with a full-size steel frame, hammer-fired, high-capacity 9mm. And the CZ Shadow 2 would fit that bill. It's a great handgun. I don't care if you go with this or you go with a Beretta or any other manufacturer. If it meets those qualifications, then in my eyes, it's a great choice. But I'm actually going to go with the Bull Armory Tac 5 Pro. Here I'm getting 20 round magazines. I got the single action sliding trigger instead of the pivoting trigger, and V8 porting. Keeps the ports keep the muzzle rise to a minimum, felt recoil minimum. Love the way this thing handles. I love the Shadow 2, but I have to go with this because of the advantages I just spoke of. For the rifle that can stretch out over 500 yards, I'm going with a 308, and my choice is a Springfield Armory 2020 Redline. It also has a carbon fiber wrapped barrel, synthetic stock, very lightweight. Once again, I value that. I've got a high power optic on there, not the highest, but it's a Bushnell 4500 4x10 power optic and a Harris bipod. This has been great. It is bolt action, excellent overall rifle, and so when you need to stretch out a bit, or you're a hunter, or you just want to plink at a distance, this would be a great choice, but a lot of other rifle calibers out there will suffice. It's hard to make a top 10 collection list without having a classic revolver. It's essential. And I'm going with the Colt Python. Now, this is a 1994 stainless steel 6-inch barrel 357 Magnum Colt Python. The trigger action is dynamo, just incredible. It looks beautiful. I love the original Colt Pythons, but I also want to take a minute and talk about my 1988 Smith & Wesson Model 19-5. This is also a 6-shot 357 Magnum. This is my most recent 1988 hammer-mounted firing pin. Love that single action as well. The Colt Python is much more valuable But I also dig this, and if you have anything like this in good condition, it should be in your top 10 collection list. The shotgun I'm using for this collection video is a Remington 870 Tactical. This is not my favorite shotgun, but it is great for collector value. I have it outfitted with Wilkes parts that look super cool and a Yankee Hill Machine Victor 12 suppressor. This thing is modular. It's in its smallest form now, but it's a great shotgun. It also has been proven throughout the years to be reliable. A lot of people out there love this. They miss it. People who have them hold on to them forever. Why? Because it's a great collector's piece that they hold dear to their heart. Every collector wants a customized gun that nobody else has that is specific to them. And here is mine. It's a Glock 45 customized by Danger Close Armament. It has a stipple job, a trigger trade out to drop in. It has a Cerakote job. It has a slide job, a chunk port with a fluted barrel. Excellent low cut optic system. I love the way this thing handles. I love the way it looks. And I love the way it took a standard Glock 45 and turned it into something like this. It's a gorgeous handgun. It is customized, or it has been customized for me and my preferences. And it turned an average Glock into a showpiece and a shooter all in one. For 5.56, many people would choose an AR, and I understand. I thought about it, and I have several to choose from, but I decided to go with a Ruger Mini 14 Tactical. I love this rifle. I love that walnut furniture, the folding tubular stock. It has a fixed piston gas system, makes it extremely reliable, super smooth to shoot. This is the second Mini 14 I have had, and this is the one I'm going to keep. I got a Burris full field 4x12 power scope. Works great. Everything about this is awesome. It is on the heavy end, but I'll deal with it. I like the way this thing handles. When somebody who loves guns is over my house and we decide to crack open the safes, there is one firearm they really want to see, and that's a Desert Eagle. This thing is amazing. The largest semi-auto handgun in existence is right here. It's got a 300 grain. This is a Hornady hollow point, 300 grains, and it's great, but yet people call it a novelty gun. I don't understand why. I never hear anybody say the Smith & Wesson 500 is a novelty gun. I don't hear people say a 45-70 revolver's a novelty gun, or a 460 Smith & Wesson, another heavy load. They don't call that a novelty gun, but they call a Desert Eagle a novelty gun. If you want the largest load possible in a big beast like this with an integrated compensator, then this would be the ticket, and you'll shoot it and you'll say, that's no novelty to me. In early 2018, Browning discontinued the high power. This is an original Browning high power. So what have we seen since the discontinuation of this, which I have to believe wasn't selling well? Well, we see Springfield, FN, Gearson, I'm sure many others made their versions of the high power. And what happened to this? It increased in value. The original Browning high power actually increased in value. So this had an MSRP when it was in production for $1,200. Now it goes for over $2,000. It's crazy, but having the original is something really special. To have the original is something that will only gain value over time, much like an original Colt Python did. And here is a bonus. This should have been on my list, but for $308, I went with a bolt action, and I stand by that choice. But here is a Malott Vepr AK-308. The value of this is skyrocketed, but this thing really needed to be in there. That's why I'm adding it as a bonus, and I thought you may enjoy seeing it once again. So those were my top 10. I added a couple more, some were combined, and then the bonus at the end. But what do you think are the firearms that every collector should have? And we'll talk about it. If you like videos like this, please subscribe and share. I always appreciate the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching, and you guys be safe.